Hello and welcome to The Stand with Eamon Dunphy. Now, it's been another fascinating weekend's Premier League football. Chelsea doing a number on Spurs and Liverpool. Again, the joint top of the league, and a dramatic Manchester United escape at West Ham, and Manchester United failing, priced at 1-9 to beat Southampton at home. And to discuss that, and of course the sad news we learned at the weekend, Jimmy Greaves, one of the greatest players ever to play the game, had died aged 81. I'm joined now by John and Liam to discuss this. John, we'll talk about the football first. The Chelsea-Spurs match was fascinating in many ways. Spurs came out full of fire, winning first balls, getting their tackles in, and for half an hour, 25 minutes, half an hour, they looked like they'd really be competitive. Then everything changed at half-time, really, when Kante came on. And I note that Thomas Tuchel, Chelsea's coach, paid a very warm tribute to Kante after the match, said he was brilliant and a game-changer. What do you make of Chelsea's chances in the league, the improvement Tuchel has brought, and also Spurs' 30-minute effort to really have a go?
Well, Spurs will start off with first time and did make a good effort in the first half. Looked a very, very good team, but they couldn't maintain it.
Yeah.
And certainly with Kante coming on, made a big difference to Chelsea. Funny enough, with a couple of managers seen now with Kante, they don't particularly fancy him that much, Eamon.
Yeah.
You know, Lampard left him out of the team. Tuchel has been inclined to leave him out, but it's only when he was out in the first half showed how much he was missed in the way he played in the second half.
Yeah.
So Chelsea were very, 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 very good in the second half. Well deserved to win it, Eamon. So, you know, it's a 90-minute game. Spurs couldn't last the extra 45. And Chelsea won well and looked good.
Yeah. Liam, the Chelsea team and the changes that Tuchel has brought in, I mean, he's got a really deep squad. For example, Ben Chilwell, who really outstanding player, England left back, bought him from Leicester. He can't get in the team. He's got Reece James on the bench again on Sunday, an England right back. But the work ethic and the balance in the team is really, really strong.
It's very, very impressive, Eamon, yeah. And Chilwell can't get in the team because Alonso is playing so well on that left-hand side as that left wing back.
Yeah.
You know, they got great balance in the side. I think they were a good side last year. They obviously proved that by winning the Champions League. But Lukaku coming into the team has given them another dimension. Now, he didn't score yesterday, but he held up the ball well, and he brought his teammates into it. And they have an abundance of really, really strong players, and they're very, very physical as well. They're big, strong lads like Rudiger at the back, you know, Christensen,
yes,
Azpilicueta, you know, all really sound defenders. You can't see them giving many goals away, and I think that's what Spurs come up against yesterday. They were really impressive, Spurs, in the first 25, 30 minutes, as you say.
Yeah.
But Chelsea defence stood strong, didn't it? And once Tottenham ran out of a bit of steam, you could see just Chelsea beginning to dominate the game, and particularly when Kante came on for Mount.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Kante, Liam, he has been carrying an injury of some kind, but the point John made about Frank Lampard at times and also Tuchel at times being willing to sacrifice him and play Kovacic and Jorginho in midfield and Mason Mount. It was Mason Mount he took off at half-time, a very good young player, currently in England, regular. So you'd wonder why Kante didn't start. But leaving that aside, I mean, your assessment of Kante, Liam, because you were a midfield player, he'd be murder to play against.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And he's quick in the tackle. He's fast aiming. He bursts past people.
Yeah. He
protects his two centre backs, doesn't he? Doesn't let many balls go into the centre forward. He's got great positional awareness. He's a brilliant all-round player, and I think he's shown that from the day he set foot in England when he played for Leicester City. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Chelsea. I believe. You know, he's the type of player that Man United could do with, in my opinion.
Yes.
You know, but Chelsea got in before everybody and got him from Leicester City, and he's proved to be a great buy. Now, why Tuchel, you know, doesn't pick him in front of Kovacic? I've no idea why. You know.
Yeah.
But, as you say, they have so many good players that he can chop and change things around, Tuchel.
Yeah, John, just a final point about Kante. He never commits a foul. Ever.
No. Well, occasionally, but he doesn't mean it when he's going for it. I think he's the type of player some of the managers look at. I think Tuchel, and eventually find out how really, really good he is.
Yeah.
He's not going to score you many goals, Eamon.
No.
He's not attractive in a certain way, some of the players are. He's just brilliant at what he does. But I think it takes a while for a manager to really look at him and say, you know, he is what he is, and he's brilliant, this guy. You know, it's only when he's out of the team sometimes, even with Tuchel now, and he's come back in, realises how good he is. He did leave him out, don't forget.
Yeah,
and Frank Lampard left him out.
Yeah,
you know?
One of the points that Tuchel made, and I think he's absolutely right, he referred to Kante's game intelligence, his reading of the game, quite apart from his work ethic and his ability on the ball. He reads the game brilliantly.
Yeah, well, that's not noticeable, I think, sometimes when for managers that just come in, Eamon.
Yeah.
They see players who can pass the ball better, maybe get a goal better, maybe do this, maybe do that, until he's out of the team, Eamon. And then when they put him back in, they realise this guy. Apparently, Tuchel was really, really impressed with him, or had his arms around him after the match.
He did, yeah.
How good he was. So it's taken him a few matches, Eamon, to realise, you know, this guy, despite the fact that he doesn't score many goals, he doesn't make many goals, but his all-round game is absolutely brilliant for the team. Defends well, uses the ball well, honest as the day is long. He's just a terrific lad and a terrific player.
Yeah. Just to move on, Liam, to Manchester City. They drew 0-0 at home with Southampton, but last week, after the Champions League game, which they didn't get a full house for, Pep had a go at the fans. He said they should be here, we need them. And he's already announced that he's going at the end of next season. They don't have that goal scorer that gets you 20 goals a year, which I think is going to be a problem for him. And I thought it before they couldn't score on Saturday. Didn't get Harry Kane. And their next game is away to Chelsea next Saturday.
Yeah. They're still a very, very good side, Eamon, but to lose a player like Aguero,
yes,
and not really replace him, you know, Torres and Jesus, I think they're very good players, but you know, you've said it yourself there, they're not like 25 goals a season players, are they? And,
and Saturday's the kind of game.
I don't know what they did. I don't know what the negotiation was to get Harry Kane, but they didn't succeed, and it almost looks a bit. I don't know. It looks the situation at Man City looks everybody's a bit fed up, and Guardiola looks a bit fed up.
Yeah.
The fans look a bit fed up. The buzz about the club has gone a bit, I think, you know.
Yeah, despite the fact that they, you know, ran away with the Premier League last year. But John, as Liam was saying there, in a match like Saturday's, this is where the brilliance of Aguero or any classic goal scorer, they win you games you really wouldn't have won otherwise. And he hasn't replaced Aguero, and that's a massive loss, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he tried to get Kane. It didn't work out very well in the end. And, you know, last season he did it, Eamon. He didn't have Aguero last season. He did it. But I think that can only last for so long.
Yeah.
I think the big problem they have there is Sterling.
Yep.
There's something going on there. I see it read in the paper this morning that Barcelona are after him. And I read in this morning, he scored 2 goals in 22 games for City recently.
Yeah.
Now, he hasn't played since last Christmas, really. And then he goes in with England, and he really, really does play well in that.
Yeah.
And he's come back again, and he hasn't kicked a ball for City again.
Yeah.
So there could be well truth in that Barcelona's after him. He wants to get away. He hasn't signed a new contract.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed that Guardiola's putting up with him the way that he is, because last week, I don't know if we were on the radio since when they played in the European match. They won 6-3.
Yes.
They weren't good. I mean,
No, I know you watched that game, yeah.
They weren't good, and especially the two lads about Aka and the left back.
Cancelo.
Yeah, not good. I mean,
no,
they're not good. They're not good defenders. They I don't see City doing anything. I think there's a lot of trouble there. I think he's stated in the paper he wants to go, which is a really, really bad move for any manager. And really, the way that the situation of them are, I don't see them with Liverpool and Chelsea and the teams that are expected to do it. I just don't see it at the moment.
No,
big trouble there.
I don't see it either. Liam, Manchester United got a result at West Ham yesterday after a shocking defeat in the Champions League, which I watched against Young Boys of Bern, losing to a last-minute goal, down to 10 men. And Paul Pogba's agent announced on Friday of last week, the day before the game, that he loved Juventus. He really wanted to go to Juventus. Now, this is a player who's running his contract down, and he's publicly, or his agent has publicly declared he wants to go to Juventus. For a club like Manchester United, is that acceptable?
Yeah, well, this is the world we live in, Eamon. The players have all the power, the agents have all the power. But it doesn't make for good team spirit and a team that's wants to really get to grips with winning the league or winning the Champions League. It doesn't bode well, and he's such a big personality and a big player in many people's eyes that Solskjaer doesn't want to leave him out of the team. But as long as he's in that team, Eamon, I don't think Man United are going to win anything, to be quite honest.
Yep.
I don't think he's good for the group. I don't think he's good for team spirit. You don't know what you're going to get from him any one day. He does have his days when he's brilliant, but they're not many. They're few and far between. And it's like a bad apple in a barrel, in my thinking.
Now, when you weren't...
What does John think?
Well, well, let's just contrast John Kante and Pogba as professional players.
Well, there's no comparison. I mean, you're talking about attitude.
Yeah.
Attitude is where you start from. Giving your all every week and what you do. Kante does that. Pogba doesn't. I mean, Pogba on his day can be brilliant and has been brilliant at times, but it's a game going on with the agent, and that. And Solskjaer is in a position. I don't think Solskjaer has the power there, in the club to say, I want him out.
Yeah.
This is like a money situation with them. You know what I mean? If he goes next year, he goes for nothing.
Yeah.
And I think the money men at Old Trafford are playing a game there. We've got to get him signed a new contract, because if we don't, he's going to go for nothing last year, and we're going to lose X amount of money. That's their thinking on it, because that's their job. It's different when it comes to management. And in Solskjaer's case, it's difficult. He did take him off on Saturday, even.
Yeah.
So, I'd be with Liam. I'd say, get him out, get the team spirit right, which has to improve if he goes. And they've got plenty of players there, and get the money in to get somebody in midfield that they want.
Yeah. I just want to put to Liam a remark you made when Liam wasn't with us a few weeks ago. Liam, John said if Paul Pogba was offered to Jurgen Klopp for nothing, he wouldn't take him. I agree with
Eamon,
that.
you remember we'll go back a year, and I said to you, why do you think he's going to leave and go to Real Madrid? Do you really think anybody watching him and watching him playing, any manager that's worth his salt, would want him in your team?
Yeah.
I don't think he would. So when Zidane was probably watching him, and Zidane's French, Pogba's French, I don't think they ever really fancied him, because he's trouble where he goes.
Yeah. And the point, John, that Liam was making there is, no matter what you say, it has to have an effect on other players in that team.
Of course it does, Eamon. How do you build a team spirit? What is team spirit all about? What's morale all about? It's everybody and the manager and all these players having a go for each other.
Yeah.
That's how you get a team spirit. That's the only way to get a team spirit. But all we read in the paper, is he going somewhere here? Is he going somewhere there? He hasn't signed a contract. Everybody has to be together.
Yeah.
in doing it. And once you have one guy out, then the team spirit deteriorates, in my opinion.
Yep.
And I think the sooner they get him out, either come to terms with him on a new contract or get him out. One or the other.
Yeah.
And I don't think Solskjaer has the power to do that, to be honest.
No, and we must say and note that Ronaldo scored again. He scored their first goal against West Ham. I think he's got 5 goals now in 4 games. He really is remarkable, isn't he? It was a tap-in, but he was there.
Well, that's his game, Eamon.
Yeah.
I think we spoke last week in the match at Old Trafford. His first goal.
Yeah.
There were 6 players in the penalty box, three Newcastle players and 3 Manchester United players.
Yeah.
And the only one to make the effort that the goalkeeper would lose the ball was Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And he was way ahead of it. And that's his game, Eamon. Look at him on a Saturday. He's not going to work hard. He's not going to run around. He's not going to do that. And he never has.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what was remarkable. That's when Solskjaer said that when he was taking him off, him and Fernandes in the European Cup match, that the two of them had been running around. They were tired. But Ronaldo just doesn't run around. But he does what he does.
He does.
Which is score goals.
He's amazing.
Never has done, Eamon. He's never been a player that's going to put other players under pressure. That's the way he saves his energy. He saves his energy all the time. And then he runs up for another goal the other day. And that was anticipation as well.
Yeah, I mean, Liam, Ronaldo coming back to the club, some people view it as a great thing. It's great for the Premier League to have him back, and it's great for Manchester United to, in a kind of nostalgic way. And of course, he's putting the ball in the back of the net. It could be seen, though, as a minus, could it?
Well, I don't think he's going to win Man United the league game.
Yeah.
No. I don't think he's a game changer that way, that he's going to go in and he's going to score them 30-odd goals and they're going to win the league because of that. I think there's an element of Galacticus, bringing him back to the club that Manchester United had him many years ago. And
they made 100 million, Liam. They made 100 million in shirt sales in the 2 weeks.
Well, I'm not surprised, Neil. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Your Man United are a huge, huge club worldwide. And Ronaldo and Messi are the 2 players that have been the greatest players in the last 10 years. And of course, him going back to Man United would generate that kind of commercial activity. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But, he's not as mobile as he used to be. He doesn't get the ball and score a goal on his own. He's depending on other players. And, his positional sense in the box is brilliant. And he's probably the best header of the ball that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
However, do I think that he's going to make the difference against Liverpool? Is he going to make the difference against Chelsea? I have my doubts.
Yeah. John, Liverpool, 2 big wins during the week, 3-2 at home to Milan, a game they really were, you could say, a little bit fortunate to win, but it was a great Anfield European night. And then a 3-0 win against Palace, which kind of flattered them, didn't it?
Yeah, well, in the European Cup match, they were really good to come back the way they did. They were very, very good. It was a difficult game, and they did all the right things and got back into it. Against Palace, I thought they were a bit sloppy at times.
Yeah.
Now he left out 2 fullbacks.
Yes.
And the new lad that they brought in,
Kanate, they brought him from Leipzig.
He's
big centre half, big strong centre half.
No, the left back Eamon.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Anyway, I can't think of his name, but he's a bit headstrong.
Yeah, it's Simcas.
Yeah, he's a bit headstrong. He's okay, but he's a bit headstrong. I thought he was very near the penalty in the first half. But Liverpool overall, they didn't play as well as they did tonight, but they had Milner at right back and this lad at left back, so he left the rest of a couple of lads coming out. But they were good enough to win. I mean, I thought the 3-0 flattered them a bit over the 90 minutes because Palace did have 1 or 2 chances. The goalkeeper did well. But, all's well that ends well. I mean, they won well and they got the points at the end. And when you've had a European night, which takes a lot out of the players, then it's a good win and an important win for them.
Liam, they are genuine contenders. They've got so many good players and so many goal scorers. They're still playing a high line at the back, Liam, and every game they play, particularly again, but even against the Crystal Palaces of this world, they give up chances because of that high line. Other than that, they look nailed on to be in contention for the Premier League alt right through the end.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of football he plays, Eamon. It's I suppose it's risk and reward. He throws everything forward, and Klopp believes that he'll outscore the opposition most of the time, and that's why they're so exciting to watch, and they get great goals. They've got those three players up front, the combination play they have. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think they're going to miss Wijnaldum.
Big time.
They haven't really replaced him. Thiago hasn't really done it, has he? He came with huge kind of reputation, and he was going to set the Premier League alight, but he didn't. He hasn't done it as a midfield player. He has introduced Klopp a couple of young kids that, it was a shame about the boy last week getting such a bad injury.
Yes.
But Elliot, wasn't it? But they're going to be contenders. But it's hard to see past Chelsea with the defence they have. It's really hard to see any team finishing above them, Eamon. That's the way I would see it. I know it's only 5 or 6 games in. I think it's difficult to see beyond Chelsea.
I think Liverpool will do them because they have more talent, but that's just because I'm a Liverpool fan. Liam, your hometown...
Well, they didn't do them. They didn't do them a few weeks ago.
No, with 10 men. Chelsea with 10 men,
With 10 men. Chelsea with 10 men, I don't know. There's something about Tuchel and the team spirit he's created at Chelsea that looks very impressive to me.
Now, your hometown team, Liam, Brighton, Graham Potter, the coach there, every time I've seen them for about the last 12 months, they've been composed, they play good football. Shane Duffy's back in the team now and playing really well. He's done a great job there, hasn't he?
Brilliant job, yeah.
Yeah.
But everywhere he's been, he's done a brilliant job.
Yeah, and he's very composed
I think
on the touchline.
When he was at Swansea, they probably... Sorry?
He looks so composed, even when things are going against him. They keep playing the right kind of football. He's bought some really outstanding forwards for very little money. He's done a hell of a job.
I think he's planned his career, this man. He went to Sweden and managed a very, very small club, but he brought them up from each division above they kept improving every year, and they ended up, qualifying for Europe and winning the Swedish Cup.
Yeah.
And that's when he came to people's attention. And he went to Swansea. I think it was difficult to have success at Swansea because he didn't have the funds necessary. But Brighton made a great signing. You're looking around for a new up-and-coming manager, and Brighton have nailed that decision, haven't they? He looks really, really good. And they're scoring goals this year, whereas last year they struggled to score, but they're getting them this year.
Yeah, and Danny Welbeck scored a header, Liam. I know from your Arsenal time. Welbeck,
he's been really unlucky with injuries. Welbeck, so it's great to see. It's great to see.
It is.
But you know what Potter and you have in common, Amy?
No.
You both played for York City.
I thought you were going to say we were both brutal. But anyway, we'll take that.
No, you both played for York City, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, I remain the only York City player ever to win an international cap. So that's my claim to distinction. What are you laughing about? Now, John, Leeds United, 4th from the bottom. We watched the match. We were talking during the match away to Newcastle on Friday night. Are they in a bit of bother, John?
Well, they're not as good as they were last year, Eamon, from the start that they made. They were a lot better against Newcastle at the weekend.
Yes.
They were more like themselves. Now they were playing a lesser team.
Yeah, they had a hard start. They had a hard start to the season.
Yeah, so I think they'll be okay. I mean, but it could be the second season syndrome, as they call it, where players, come up and I think I might have mentioned to you before. I go back to my experience at Leeds when we got promoted. A lot of young lads playing in it, Gary Sprake and Billy Bremner and Paul Reaney, and you could tell we were all a bit frightened.
Yeah.
Oh, you're scared. and that gets you going a lot. Now, it's like Sheffield United, one of the teams that's done it a couple of years ago. I think they finished 7th or 8th in the Premier League.
They did,
Next season, they're relegated because that fear goes out of it, from the players. I don't think they mean to do it, but it's just a fact that, we're going into the big boys. We have to do this. We have to do that. And then the second season comes around. Well, man, not that difficult. And so hopefully with Bielsa, I think he'll be getting going again, Eamon. I think they'll be okay.
Right.
I think so.
Okay.
There was improvement against Newcastle, definitely.
Yeah, at the weekend, Liam, very sad news indeed for people who love football. The death of Jimmy Greaves, 81 years of age, one of the greatest English players, or indeed one of the greatest players in the world, comparable with anybody for goal scoring. And I know that you didn't play against him as John did, but he was a wonderful player and a really nice man, because I know you met him quite a bit.
Yeah, I knew him from his Tottenham days, and when you're growing up as a young lad, 9-10 years of age, and you really begin to fall in love with the game, he was one of the players that really, really excited you, wasn't he? I remember, you could pick up the ball on the halfway line and dribble through people. And I remember he scored a brilliant goal against Man United when he was in that really good Tottenham team.
Yes.
And, he picked the ball up at the halfway line and he just set off. And he was very, very quick. He could beat people, 2-footed, left foot probably predominantly, but he was 2-footed and just had that instinct to score goals. His goal scoring record is quite incredible, eh?
Yes, it is. I'm just looking at it here. I mean, it is incredible. And he, John, you played against him a lot. I played against him myself twice. We drew Spurs in the Cup at Millwall and we drew at home and we lost 1-0 away. But he was deadly. You played against him a lot, John, and you're a big admirer of his, and one of his sadnesses was that he wasn't playing in the World Cup winning 66 team. Tell us about him as a player to play against.
He was a genius, Eamon.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. He scored 602 goals in 420 matches.
Yeah.
600 games to 42 goals. Unbelievable, Eamon.
Yeah.
He was, and you've got to go back to, and some people have mentioned it, on the pitches that he had to play on.
Yeah, saw it on the stuff last
compared
night
to today.
Yeah.
Compared to today, and he's dribbling past people. He was a genius, and he was sort of he had a great temperament for scoring goals. First of all, he had the ability to do it. As Liam said, he was very quick, and he was a brilliant dribbler of the ball, and he could score on either foot. But he had this knack, and well, it's not a knack, it was a gift to be in the right place at the right time, which a lot of the scorers do. But he had the ability to get the ball on his own.
Yes.
He wasn't just in the right place, he was on his own, beat players, and beat them on his left foot mostly, but he could score with his right foot as well. But he was just brilliant, Damon. And he had this temperament, I think, in scoring goals. Was like, if he missed a chance, I always found with Jimmy was, some you win, some you lose.
Yeah.
It never got him down.
No.
That's what happens. Sorry.
He scored 220 goals for Spurs in 321 league of pitches. And as you say, I remember the goal Liam refers to was a very iconic goal against Manchester United. It was a kind of a sheer brilliance, like Messi-like brilliance. And just to go back to the World Cup, John, he got injured early on, but there was a thing that Ramsey wanted to play Geoff Hurst and Roger Hunt as his striking partnership. They were a much more robust partnership. And Greaves, he didn't really fancy Greaves. Is that right? You were around that, and Nobby Stiles would have told you what was going on.
No, I don't think that's right at all.
Right.
I think he loved Jimmy Greaves, and it was just a situation, that they started the World Cup not well at all.
Yeah, no, badly.
Right?
Yeah.
And Jimmy Greaves was getting no supply. It wasn't Jimmy. You see, when Jimmy wasn't getting goals, it looked like, well, he's not doing anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And England started badly
Yes.
in the World Cup. And Jimmy wasn't getting any supply. And if Jimmy's not getting a supply and scoring goals, he's not really given anything to the game.
Yes.
That's the way I think Ramsey saw it. So what he did, Ramsey, he got rid of wingers, Eamon.
Yeah,
he made drastic changes.
He did,
you know, when the first two matches, he had a right winger and a left winger, and he made big changes. They weren't going anywhere. They were having a bad time, England, and I think they drew the first two matches.
Yeah.
And he decided to make drastic changes, which was to bring Alan Ball wasn't in the team, Martin Peters wasn't in the team at the first couple of matches, and Jimmy Greaves was, but it wasn't working, and Jimmy was a victim really of the situation because you had to be patient with Jimmy for Jimmy to get in the World Cup. They couldn't afford to be patient with him. And funny enough, immediately after the World Cup, he got back into the team again.
Yeah.
You know, it was just unfortunate at that particular period in his career for 4 or 5 matches, Eamon, he loses out on the World Cup. He came back again. He was scoring goals regularly on a regular basis again. He was very unfortunate, and Ramsey had to do something at the time.
Yes.
He was desperate to do it. I don't think he disliked Jimmy Greaves at all. I think, like everybody else, he's a football man who admired him and loved him. But just circumstances were such that he had to make changes in the way that he did.
Yeah, Liam, he went to Milan in his last game for Chelsea. They sold him to Milan. They made him captain. He scored 4 goals and they won the match 4-3. Then he went off to Milan, but it didn't work out for him. And he then came back.
He hated it. He hated it, Eamon. It was too strict. It was too regimental. The team would go away the night before.
Yeah.
Maybe the night of the match after they'd finished, they'd still be taken back to the hotel because the coach wasn't happy with them. Jimmy wasn't into that, you know.
Yeah.
Jimmy's hot. And Dennis Law didn't like it. Joe Baker didn't like it for those reasons. Yeah. Luckily enough, when I went, it wasn't like that anymore.
Yes.
But he played 12 games for Milan and he scored 9 goals, Eamon.
You know, in Italy, that's something.
In Italy, it's the hardest league in the world to score goals. It used to be, but his goal scoring record is quite incredible. I read, reading all the things about him, and he said the 70s was like you can't remember anything that happened in the 70s, because he was drinking so much.
Yes,
but he went when he got off the drink, he went back and played for Barney at 37 years of age. 50 odd appearances, 16 goals. You know.
Yeah.
And he was playing midfield. And he said he played midfield. There's a great documentary on him. Any of your listeners, Eamon, I would recommend. It's an absolutely brilliant documentary. I don't know where you can get it, Netflix or maybe
YouTube.
It's brilliant.
It's up there. Okay.
It's brilliant.
We should just say that he did have a battle with alcohol. It's a battle he won in a way, but he played at a time when players weren't really rewarded for what they did. It's a contrast indeed with today. But he was one of the great players and one of the nicest men you could ever wish to meet. That's all we have time for now. I'd like to thank John and Liam